The announcement of a new Hearthstone expansion is traditionally accompanied by the release of a new legendary card. This time, we've received a very intriguing and powerful tool that opens up a wide space for creativity and changes the gameplay experience. Unfortunately, the potential power of its effect turned out to be insufficient for the card to spread widely, even as an experiment in exploring different synergies. I intend to find out in which of the most effective and interesting decks this card performs well, and what that reveals about the current state of the game.
Time to rock and roll!
Hello my friends. My name is Bot Mathematician and this is Holomancer.
Also, Chief Investigative Reporter Dora joined us this evening.
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
In just a month, we'll return to one of the most legendary expansions in Hearthstone history.
The lost city of Ungoro will sweep us away in waves of nostalgia. Familiar characters from the past will return one by one, and among them is the Tortolan leader, Umbra. The card has already been added to the game as a traditional free promo. In our opinion, it's an incredibly powerful card with a universal effect that, in theory, has enormous potential, but in practice has only found use in narrowly focused niches. We became curious to compare the new and old versions of Umbra in terms of design and, through them, reflect on how the game has changed, while also offering new ways to play.
Guys, let's start with a quick recap. Spirit Singer Umbra was first introduced in the Journey to Ungoro expansion in 2017. It's a neutral 4-mana minion with the effect, after you summon a minion, trigger its Deathrattle effect. It's extremely important that the word summon was used in the text. This meant the effect triggered not only when you played a minion from your hand but also when minions were summoned through alternative means. That nuance allowed the card to be useful in a broader range of scenarios in Standard. Essentially, the card let you activate a Deathrattle an additional time right after the minion was summoned. This conditionally increased the value of each Deathrattle minion by a third.
It's worth noting that the card had a significant impact on the metagame primarily, because of the lower level of power creep at the time. Players were fighting for every bit of value they could get out of their effects, and were ready to accept that it wouldn't always work out.
The card was used in various versions of Rogue, N'Zoth Priest, and Deathrattle Hunter, but its primary home was Cube Warlock. It's important to note that the card was hard to break due to its high mana cost and its dependency on direct synergy with other cards. The effect was highly situational and provided impressive value only in the late game. Moreover, even when the combo worked, players rarely managed to turn it into a win condition, let alone something comparable to a finisher.
Surprisingly, just a year ago, we received a relative of this card with a similarly designed philosophy. Summoner Dark Marrow, like Spirit Singer Umbra, shares a distant ancestor, Baron Rivendare, and both represent further steps in the evolution of Deathrattle abuse. Summoner Dark Marrow has a more reactive effect, allowing you to trigger Deathrattles twice and immediately. Cards already on the board are also affected, which is a huge bonus, while newly played minions lose their bodies in exchange for a double trigger. In most cases, the body of a Deathrattle minion is roughly equal in value to the effect itself. This card was used in countless Warlock builds, primarily because of the tourist mechanic. Simply including the card in your deck allowed you to add Death Knight cards. Ignoring the expansion of your toolkit would be senseless. But its main direct synergy was with the location Ultralisk Cavern. Unlike most Deathrattle minions that don't benefit from losing their bodies, this combo can reliably and easily generate a huge advantage by summoning 2 8/8 minions. On top of that, the player has full control over triggering the Deathrattle and reaping the benefits. This is exactly what modern players are looking for, not just value, but extraordinary benefits with straightforward execution. And all the conditions for that are present in the game.
Unlike the original Umbra, you don't need to wait for the late game or meet specific conditions to guarantee value. You don't have to take risks by playing the card and hoping your opponent doesn't remove it before you can gain an advantage next turn. You're less dependent on having combo pieces in hand. In the end, players get value with minimal effort and don't look for alternative synergies simply because one combo is too hard to surpass.
In turn, Endbringer Umbra is a significantly more powerful card. It requires no direct synergy and has no activation condition, making it incredibly straightforward and universally applicable. Essentially, it turns the Deathrattles of your dead minions into battle cries and works similarly to Shudderwalk, with the only limitation being a cap of 5 activations. However, its reduced cost allows it to be played earlier and enables abuse through easy hand bounce mechanics. I have no doubt that in the past, This card would have been an auto-include in most decks running even a few Deathrattle minions. But under current conditions, players are forced to look for synergies that go far beyond traditional use cases. Umbra does see play, but despite its powerful effect, it usually finds a place only in extremely synergistic decks, and even then, it often remains optional. According to a poll on our community tab, viewers consider the card competitive and nothing more. Players are reluctant to experiment with it outside of abusing very specific effects, and to me, that perfectly reflects the nature of today's competitive environment.
Guys, let's move on to deck scenarios, and begin with the most popular one. Pain Demon Hunter is a mid-range deck with control elements, built around the synergy between self-damage mechanics and dealing massive damage to the opponent. The core strategy revolves around taking damage to activate powerful card effects, then leveraging those effects for board control. Since our previous video, where we noted that this archetype was unfairly overlooked, it has grown rapidly. Right now, it's the most effective strategy on the road to legend. We introduced a metric called the efficiency factor, which expresses, as a percentage, how rational it is to craft a deck when climbing the ladder with limited resources. A 59% win rate across 10,000 games in a single day, combined with a relatively low cost, just 2 legendaries and 4 epics, gives us an efficiency factor of 81%. A key component of the deck is a trimmed-down Deathrattle core. This is where Umbra thrives. During the mulligan phase, your top priority is finding Ballhog. Then you bring it back with Ravenous Fellhunter, and use the return policy spell to trigger Fellhunter's Deathrattle, generating a copy into your hand. Endbringer Umbra leeches value from just these 2 Deathrattles, dealing up to 15 damage to your opponent, healing you for the same amount, and potentially summoning multiple pairs of Ballhogs. Within this strategy, Umbra serves as a powerful secondary win condition and potential finisher, but not a core component of the archetype.
Demon Hunter continues to exploit this card in what remains its most popular archetype. Starship Demon Hunter is a modified version of Armor Demon Hunter, which terrorized the meta right after rotation and served as an early predecessor to Pain Demon Hunter.
The original concept relied on abusing Arcanite Defense Crystal, bringing it back with Ravenous Fellhunter, which in turn was revived by Ferocious Fellbat. The chain always ended with Arcanite Defense Crystal. A brutal nerf to that card should have killed the synergy, but instead, the deck evolved, shifting from mid-range to control. Players simply cut Ravenous Fellhunter from the chain, and surprisingly, it wasn't much of a loss. Ferocious Fellbat is a very awkward minion that many opponents ignore, which makes interactions with Carnivorous Cubicle another key synergy piece, easier to pull off. Another critical component is Kul'jaeden, which improves your odds against control decks. But your main win condition is the Starship. With every death of an Arcanite Defense Crystal, the stats of your dormant Starship increase. Eventually, you use the Ceaseless Expanse in combination with the Exodart to wipe your opponent's board and deliver lethal damage directly to their hero. Here too, Endbringer Umbra abuses only 2 Deathrattles. The card can grant up to 20 armor and summon multiple pairs of Arcanite Defense Crystals. And yet, amazingly, that still isn't enough to make Umbra a must-have in the deck. Alternate popular builds show stable results without including it.
Starship Death Knight is one of the most dominant archetypes in Standard right now. It's a control deck with a win condition similar to Starship Demon Hunter. It's much harder for this strategy to exploit specific Deathrattles, but players are experimenting with Umbra in what are, for now, niche builds. The deck isn't budget-friendly, requiring 3 legendaries and 4 epics, and the performance isn't particularly impressive. Only a 53% win rate on the climb to legend. This weighs heavily on its efficiency factor, which comes out to just 33%. The key synergy is still the Starship core, and even under these conditions, Umbra can deliver impressive value in the form of armor, board clears, and, most importantly, the summoning of multiple 6-cost minions. Still, it seems this just isn't enough for the card to claim a more central role in the archetype.
Umbra has managed to carve out a much more stable place in Hydration Druid, a deck she essentially helped bring back into the meta. Overall, this is a control hybrid that fuses multiple win conditions into a single cohesive strategy.
One of those win conditions is direct abuse of Greybow's Deathrattle through Umbra's effect and a second enabler, Blob of Tar. The deck does run other Deathrattles, but if you manage to get a resurrection loop going with Greybow, you massively increase the chance of triggering those additional effects through Umbra. Carnivorous Cubicle and the Hydration Station spell can help keep the engine going. Fortunately, you're not reliant on that one combo to win games. The Greybow loop is difficult to assemble during most matches, and in that regard, it's reminiscent of older mechanics. That said, the deck has plenty of strong interactions outside of it. Here's one crucial tip. Always mulligan for Yggdrasil. This insanely powerful location dramatically boosts your chances of winning.
Warrior has also found a use for Umbra in its Mech archetype, which had been teetering on the edge of extinction due to lackluster performance. Unfortunately, we once again see a pattern. The archetype leans on just one Deathrattle interaction rather than embracing a wider synergy. That's modern Hearthstone in a nutshell. Your primary goal is to get testing dummy on the board as early as possible. The deck includes mana cheat tools to support this. Then, you abuse dummy's Deathrattle using Boom Wrench, while Carnivorous Cubicle can trigger resurrection loops. Inventor Boom helps bring it back again. The cherry on top is Umbra, who takes on the role of a finisher, transforming into a full-blown Cthulhu, dealing up to 40 damage when the testing dummy resurrection cycle was successfully sustained. This powerful new card has improved the archetype's overall performance, but hasn't pushed it to legendary heights. For the simple reason that consistently multiplying the testing dummy resurrection is a nonlinear, complex task.
We found only one deck experimenting with Umbra without abusing a single specific Deathrattle. That is an extremely niche list, Rainbow Death Knight. The deck tries to exploit the Deathrattle of travel security to summon random 8-cost minions. But the experiment falls flat due to the high number of low-cost Deathrattle cards in the archetype. It's impossible to replace them out efficiently.
Another potential value engine in the list is Eliza Goreblade. In this deck, Umbra can't generate spectacular value, but instead offers flexible utility, drawing or generating cards, summoning small boards, and potentially buffing them. Still, as you can guess, without a focused Deathrattle to abuse, Umbra's impact remains weak, especially in the late game.
And I think that reflects an important truth about modern Hearthstone. While players may note a decrease in power creep, the power level of interactions in Standard has reached extraordinary heights, and Umbra, both the original version from 2017 and her new incarnation, highlights this shift.
In the current environment, even a card with a simple, high-powered effect can feel optional, unless it contributes to something extraordinary.
And this principle applies more broadly. Take away Renewing Flames from your Sol, and both cards instantly become useless. Don't get us wrong, Hearthstone players have always chased the most broken interactions. But I can't recall a time when the game allowed for such easy abuse of a single card or mechanic.
Combos, in their many forms, have become the defining feature of the game. We now have many cards that are objectively strong, often even flexible across multiple decks, but unless they can hook into a hyper-efficient interaction, they end up sitting on the bench. Meanwhile, cards that seem unimpressive on their own dominate the meta, simply because they found a home in one explosive combo.
To me, Endbringer Umbra perfectly symbolizes a kind of underrated strength. This card has an absolutely insane effect, but couldn't find a meaningful place in the meta, unless it's part of a loop abusing a single Deathrattle.
And maybe that's just inevitable in a format where the overwhelming majority of decks rely on one or more reactive finishers. I don't know how to feel about that. Maybe it's not good or bad, it's just the nature of the current game. Dear viewers, what do you think? Do you see the rise of combo-heavy synergies as a problem, or do you actually enjoy that aspect of today's Hearthstone?
Let us know your thoughts below and join the polls in your community tab. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to support our content and stay updated.
Traditionally, we want to express our boundless gratitude to our sponsors.
Dear friends, your help is invaluable. We will be grateful for any support.
Okay, that's all for today. Thank you for spending this time with us. We really hope that we will have the opportunity to get in touch in the next video.
Take care of yourself.
And never give up.
Job's done.